got a lot of things going on here at the homestead, and today's project for me is I'm going to be repurposing some star bricks that we have that were made here locally years and years ago. So what Mike's gonna do is dig out this space for me so I can put the bricks in that area. Seeing how useful this dingo and the excavator has been that he's been able to borrow from work, it's really hard for me to argue that a tractor wouldn't be helpful here on the homestead. Although that is a many years in the future kind of goal for us, it's definitely, I can see it going to be useful in the future. All right, so now that it is all dug out, we're gonna go through with the tamp to flatten out, compact it, and then I'm going to check to make sure that everything's good and level. We've got some yard fabric to lay down to make sure we don't have any weeds growing up between the bricks. I don't really care to deal with all that. And I definitely don't want to spray any kind of herbicides when I'm sitting between my two raised garden beds. So I'm going to start with tamping this out. All right, so we're done tamping, and I slightly underestimated how much of a workout that was gonna be, being 5 months pregnant. So, I catch my breath. And then we're going to check with the level, just to make sure that I don't have a bunch of uneven bricks that you're stepping on and they're rocking and that sort of thing. We take our level. Slightly high over here on this side, so I'm probably going to straighten this down just a little bit. Still slightly high on that left side. Get down from there, please. Alright. Definitely a lot higher on the left side on this center portion here. And I might have a bit of a hump right here because we had a divot and I added soil in this area to try and fill it in. I might have overcompensated and put too much, so maybe I'll tamp it a little bit more extra in these areas and see if that doesn't fix the problem first before I go digging out the dirt. I'm getting a lot more level as we go back this way. Okay, so I'm going to tamp it primarily on this side, see if that doesn't help to level that back out. So here's the problem I'm running into right now. I did not dig out this corner all that great. So right now this brick is sitting all sorts of wonky that if you step on it, and then this I didn't quite dig out quite straight all the way, so I can't get this brick to go flush with this. So what I'm gonna do is move all this back out of the way. And I'm gonna use just a hand shovel. You can see it kind of like scoops out right here. And what I want to do is give it as much of that 90-degree angle as I can. And I don't feel like getting the big giant shovel over here. So I'm just gonna use my little hand shovel and do it that way. I'm gonna shovel that out. As much of that 90-degree. You can see some of my nice garden soil coming out underneath there. And I'll just take one of these bricks real quick and shove it up against there. Notice I've still got a slight gap, so I must have some curve to that. Need to dig that out just a hair more. Try and get that. And I'm gonna have to do that, I'm guessing, all the way down. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now and take care of that to make sure that I don't have to deal with that on the future bricks. Something I noticed to be a little bit helpful is I was taking my brick and pressing it up against this flush and just using the pressure of the brick as it's sliding along to kind of scrape out all the way across. All right, another problem here. Obviously we pre-built these. This was an afterthought to put these in. So there is a sizable gap if I go from side to side. So I'm gonna have to decide what I want to do. I don't think the pattern's gonna matter. I'm going with a basket weave pattern, and I don't think that's gonna make a difference in that gap. Basket weave is starting to come together. Now there's gonna be some gaps, just some differences in these bricks, like in their size. Some of them have broken off, some of them are just smaller, and there's gonna be some gaps. So I mean, this isn't gonna be like your perfect brick mason laid walkway. To compensate for that large gap I had on one side, what I did is I scooted all the bricks more central, and so there's a small gap on this side, a small gap on that side that I'm gonna probably fill in maybe with sand or something. And I know that some of you are looking at this and going, oh my gosh, there's no leveling sand. I know. I did the best I could. The idea was this was gonna be a free project with stuff we already own, already had tons of these star bricks, probably at least 100 of them. Already have the yard fabric, just some sweat equity, and I'm gonna have a nice little walkway between my archways when I'm done. So maybe I'll buy a little bit of sand to fill in these little gaps here with, just so it will pack together too. But obviously I won't have any underneath it, as some of you are probably pretty perturbed about. Here we are. We've got our basket weave circle bricks. This is just chalk from the kids, so that'll rinse off in the rain. Got my herb planter, which will come back to life come spring. Gonna put probably, like I said, some sort of like sand that's supposed to go under these bricks in between them to kind of help keep them from rocking and help fill in the gaps. But overall, I'm really happy because this was a free project.